We wanted to begin this legislative session and our work together with hearing first and foremost from student voices. And we've partnered with the Minnesota Youth Council to solicit those voices from across the state. The upside of the pandemic is the greater ease with which people from across the state can participate in the legislative process. The Minnesota Youth Council committee was established in statute in 2013 under the auspices of the Minnesota Alliance with Youth. The committee consists of 4 members from each congressional district in Minnesota and 4 members selected at large. The duties of the council is to provide advice and recommendations to the legislature and governor on issues affecting youth, and to serve as a liaison for youth around the state to the legislature and the governor. There is members of Minnesota Youth Council Committee that meets twice each year during the regular session of the legislature. They select introduced bills in the House of Representatives and the Senate for consideration for a public hearing before the Committee of Youth. There is nothing as terrifying as presenting one of your bills before that committee. They are smart, they ask tough questions, and they are relentless. It's a great group of students to have engaged in the legislative process, and Minnesota is very lucky to have that structure in place. Next on the agenda is Ms. Katelyn, I'm going to say Dorry, I hope that's correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong, from Grand Rapids Senior High School. Ms. Dorry, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chair Debney, and the members of the committee for inviting youth members to speak today. My name is Katelyn Dorry, and if y'all don't mind, I'm going to start by telling you a bit about myself, and then I'll get into my experiences with distance learning this past year. So I was born in Roseau, Minnesota, and I grew up in Grand Rapids and on the Iron Range. Right now, I am a junior at Grand Rapids High School, and I chair the 8th Congressional District of the Minnesota Youth Council. I've always been very good at school. I'm a quick learner, and I'm a self-identified huge nerd. In the 5th grade, I would go up to my teachers and ask them for extra homework to do. So like, huge nerd. I was always into it. Being the smart kid, quote unquote, has always been one of the focal points of my identity for quite literally as long as I can remember. But eventually I grew older, as kids do, and passions for politics and policy became career goals, and dreams and fantasies I had as a little girl about going to an Ivy League school like Harvard or Princeton became real possibilities if I made the right moves and worked my butt off right now. So as I moved into high school, my focus shifted from playing video games and hanging out with my friends to building my resume and making myself into a viable candidate for the places I want to go and the networks I need to have access to. However, as I started to look around for these experience gaining opportunities, it became increasingly apparent that as a student from Greater Minnesota, my options are limited. You see, I'm from what people around here like to call a dying town. Job opportunities are limited and growing smaller. There's increasing problems of poverty and chemical dependency. And it's understood around here that for young people, if they want to be successful, they need to leave seeking careers and job opportunities and building their lives elsewhere. As a student with high achieving aspirations, I've been faced with the frustrations of a lack of opportunities and resources to be able to measure up to the Metro kids in competitive admissions processes. It often feels like engaging in many of these cities-based opportunities are my only options, which includes the ordeal of a 3-hour drive down there, finding a place to stay, paying for gas, paying for food, and getting a work and school off. If it weren't for the fact that we've moved to an online forum, I wouldn't be able to speak to you guys all today. Currently, I'm on the hunt for summer internship opportunities in the offices of this legislator, an opportunity I'd be grateful for, but that means moving down to the cities and leaving behind my friends and family for months. I am fortunate in one way that my school is one of the only schools in Greater Minnesota to offer the International Baccalaureate program. I'm an IB diploma candidate, which for those that don't know, it means I'm taking the equivalent of 7 college level classes in the special honors program. This program raises my chances of getting to Princeton from 5.5% to 14%, which is a statistic I've been holding on to tight the last few months, since, as you know, this year didn't turn out how I envisioned it when I first signed up for this. I was not built for distance learning. I'm a social being that learns in structured environments with back and forth interactions with my teachers and my peers. This year, the isolation on top of everything has been crushing. Last year, school moved to distance learning at the end of my sophomore year, and I found myself overwhelmed, exhausted at the smallest assignments. And moving into this year came with dread rather than the excitement I had months before, knowing that my workload would triple in an uncertain learning environment. Since the beginning of the school year, I have now gone through 3 different changes in learning models, all with their own upheavals and anxieties. And if you'll allow me to be honest, my mental health has crumbled this year. This year put me in therapy. This year put me on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication. And as I struggled with the workload and the tasks that used to be simple to me, this year had me questioning my smart kid identity. And with that comes the terror of questioning my own capabilities, of questioning my dreams and my aspirations. If I can't handle this, how am I supposed to handle Harvard? Do I really deserve to go there? Am I really as intelligent as I thought I was? Am I really as strong as I thought I was? This pandemic has brought me to my knees. I went from feeling invincible to just feeling small, unable to keep up with my own expectations of myself, with the extracurriculars I need to participate in, with my duties as a Minnesota Youth Council rep. Honestly, my anxiety is the only thing keeping my grades up. And I'm doing this alone. There's little support from my school. My poor, overworked counselor takes a week to respond to my emails, having the caseload of hundreds of students experiencing similar struggles as me. I'm coming to you today as representatives with the power to help. You have the power to fund mental health services. You have the power to bring in counselors for more than just career in college. You have the power to fund programs and opportunities for greater Minnesota students, to bring help to a community that feels left behind and forgotten. Today, I am here to ask you for help. Thank you all for listening, and I'm also open to any questions. Yeah, so help and cope, that's been a big conversation with the people close in my life the last few months, among my therapist and I, but I am in the fortunate position to have an incredibly wonderful and empathetic mother that is willing to sit down with me every night while I'm overwhelmed or having anxiety attacks or just crying for the sake of crying because there's a lot happening, which lately has been almost every single night. I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have her to be able to support me through that outlet, but I think it's really important to recognize that not everybody is as fortunate as I am, and I think it's my strong belief that where homes and families fail, it's the job of our school system to pick up the slack. There is very limited mental health support offered in our education system. We have the concept of school counselors whose jobs are mostly for career and college counseling instead of, the more personal mental health support. I think that instead of giving them the job of mental health support, I think that more funding and allocation needs to be going towards specific individuals who are there to support their students and help pick up some of that slack, because not everyone has a bomb mother like I do. So that's how I've been coping.